They were already moving heavy machinery onto my land when I drove up, my stomach twisting.
What the hell are you doing?
I shouted, but they ignored me. A woman in a crisp blazer waved a clipboard and smirked. "Sir, this is private property and you don't have permission to be here." I stared at her, disbelief bubbling up. My land, my name on the deed, my family's future. "You're trespassing," I yelled, stepping closer. She laughed like I was a child throwing a tantrum. "I have HOA approval. You need to stop this construction immediately." Before I could react, she pulled out a phone and called someone. I froze as uniformed men appeared, walking like they owned the place. But something felt off. Their badges were shiny but cheap. The way they moved wasn't right. I swallowed hard, my heart hammering. "You're not real cops," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She tilted her head, annoyed. "You'll see soon enough." My daughter peeked from behind the trees, clutching her teddy bear. I couldn't let her see me lose. My mind raced. Years in the army flashed in my head. Tactical moves, quick thinking. I wasn't helpless. I moved slowly, keeping my eyes on the men, noticing every detail. One of them kept checking their phone. Another hesitated near the bulldozer. That was my chance. I slipped behind a tree, pulling out the hidden camera I'd installed months ago. "If they tried anything, I'd have proof, sir. We're just doing our job," one of the fake cops said nervously as I stepped out, voice calm but firm. "On whose authority?" I asked, pointing at the HOA woman. Her smirk faltered for a moment. "I didn't wait. I know who you are, and I know what you're doing." The men looked at each other, unsure. The bulldozer stopped. My heart raced. This was my land, and I was about to show them they couldn't push me around. The woman's face turned red, but she masked it with a forced smile. "Sir, you don't understand. This is legal. We have permits." I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. "Permits? You forged them." I checked with the county office this morning. "There's nothing on record for construction here." Her smile faltered, and I could see the panic creeping in. She snapped her fingers, and the fake cops stepped forward, trying to intimidate me. "Step aside, sir, or we'll have to enforce the law." I held up my hand slowly, keeping my calm. "Enforce the law? I am the law in this county. I own this land, and I have a direct line to the sheriff. Those permits of yours? Fake. And these guys? You're impersonating law enforcement." Her composure cracked. "You can't. You don't. We're the HOA. We control." She stopped, glaring at me. I noticed her necklace catching the sunlight, an emblem I recognized from the county's HOA board files. She had ties, all right, powerful ties, but they underestimated one thing: me. I stepped closer, pointing at the bulldozer. "Move your machines off my property right now, or I start recording every second and send it to the sheriff, the local news, and every HOA complaint board in the state." My daughter peeked out from behind the tree again, giving me a tiny thumbs up. My blood surged. The fake cops hesitated. One whispered, "Maybe we should," before I cut him off. Voice low but sharp. "Now, or you'll be on video impersonating officers and aiding illegal trespassing." The bulldozer operator froze, then slowly backed away. The woman's eyes widened, realizing her plan was unraveling before she even got started. I grinned, holding up my camera. "Smile, Karen. The first step of your little scheme is already on tape." Her lips trembled. You think you can stop me?" I leaned in, voice calm but deadly serious. "No, I know I can. Because I fight for my family, my land, and the truth." He went white for a second, then breathed out like he was holding a plan. "Okay," he said, and pulled his phone from his pocket. Not to call the sheriff, he already had that line, but to play something. A file he'd saved weeks ago. A voice memo from the HOA meeting where she'd laughed about finding ways to take the empty lots and told a contractor to make it look official. The woman's smile died when her own voice filled the air, clear as day. Around us, machines creaked. Men glanced at each other. The tall man in the cheap uniform stepped forward, jaw tight. "Ma'am, this isn't right," he muttered. For a moment I thought he was still one of her hires. Then he lifted his head and I saw the patch on his sleeve. "County deputy." The same deputy I'd helped tutor on evidence chain years ago. His eyes met mine and something passed. Recognition, guilt, a choice. He barked an order in a way only real cops can, and the bulldozer operator froze like a man who finally understood he'd been lied to. Karen's voice went thin. That's a recording. You can't use—" I cut her off, calm but cold. "Oh, I can. And I already emailed it to the county clerk and 2 reporters. My daughter hugged my leg, eyes wide. The deputy moved closer and said low, "We're standing with him. Those permits are fake." Karen's face turned from red to pale. She fumbled for her phone and hit speed dial, breathing. "You don't understand who I am." A new sound rose then. Sirens far off, closer than before. She looked at them and the little power in her posture cracked. They thought my land was empty. They were wrong. The sirens got louder and real police cars rolled onto the dirt path leading to my property. The bulldozer stopped mid-motion, its engine rumbling uncertainly. Karen's face turned ghostly pale, her hands trembling over the phone. This can't be happening," she whispered. I took a slow step forward, keeping my voice steady. "It is happening. Your little scam is over." The deputy nodded at me, then turned to her. "Ma'am, step away from the property. You're under investigation for fraud and impersonating law enforcement." She froze, fumbling with her words. "I have HOA authority." One of the real officers raised an eyebrow. "Not with forged permits. Not with fake badges. Step aside, her fake cops." They bolted, dropping their badges like rocks hitting the ground. Karen's eyes darted, desperate, calculating. Then she saw the camera in my hand, the evidence ready to be aired. "You can't. You don't. People will believe me." Her voice cracked. I crouched slightly, showing my daughter I was calm, then looked back at Karen. "They already won't. And every second of this is recorded." Suddenly, she lunged for her car, tires squealing, but one of the officers had already blocked the way. Karen froze, realizing her escape was gone. I exhaled slowly, my heart still racing, but knowing the fight was almost done. "You thought you could build on my land, silence me, scare my family. But here we are." She swallowed hard, finally silent, defeated, while the deputy gave me a subtle nod of respect. My daughter tugged my hand. "Daddy, did we win?" I smiled down at her, feeling the weight of the day lift slightly. "Yes, sweetheart, we did. And she's going to pay for what she tried to do." Karen slumped against the side of her car, muttering under her breath, while the officers cuffed her and read her rights. I stayed back, letting them handle it, my camera still rolling. The dirt on my land smelled like victory, but the adrenaline in my veins reminded me nothing about this was over until every trace of their scheme was exposed. One of the deputies approached, holding a folder. "We traced the permits," he said quietly. "All forged. And the HOA board she claimed backed her? None of them knew anything. You've got a real case for fraud, trespassing, and impersonation." I nodded, my jaw tight. "Good, make sure she doesn't weasel out of this." My daughter skipped a step forward, hugging my leg. "Daddy, can we go home now?" I crouched, brushing her hair back. "Soon, baby, soon, but first." I turned to the bulldozer, now idle and abandoned. "We clean up what she tried to take." As we walked toward the edge of the property, I noticed a small, half-buried envelope near the construction site. Curious, I bent down and pulled it out. Inside were plans, detailed maps, dates, names of contractors, and even notes about which empty lots she wanted next. My heart sank and raced at the same time. This wasn't just about my land, it was bigger than I thought. Karen's scheme wasn't over. She had bigger plans, more lies, and more people in her pocket. But now I had her blueprint, her playbook, and all the evidence I could need. My mind raced. How far would she go if she thought she could get away with it? And more importantly, how could I stop her before someone else became the next target? I spent the night going through the envelope, my kitchen table covered in maps, notes, and photographs. Each page made my blood boil. Karen had been planning this for months, maybe years. Some of the lots she marked weren't even developed yet. She was aiming to take advantage of absentee owners, families on vacation, anyone who wouldn't notice until it was too late. Morning came, and I drove back to the property with a purpose. The construction crew was gone, but the traces of their work were still there. Tire tracks, flattened earth, half-built wooden stakes. I took out my phone, calling a lawyer I knew through my veteran network. "We've got full proof," I said. "Not just trespassing, not just fake cops. This is organized fraud." While waiting for legal advice, I noticed a figure at the edge of the property, watching. Karen? No, this was someone new. A man in a suit with dark sunglasses, clipboard in hand. He looked official, but his hesitation told me otherwise. I stepped closer. "Can I help you?" He straightened, flashing a fake badge. "I'm here for property assessment." "HOA request." I smirked, holding up my phone. "Funny, Your permits don't exist and your boss is already in cuffs. Try again. He froze, realizing I wasn't afraid, and I realized the fight was far from over. Karen had allies, and they were already moving to salvage her plan. But I had one advantage: knowledge, evidence, and the determination of someone who wouldn't let his land or family be stolen. My daughter tugged my sleeve. "Daddy, are they coming back?" I glanced at the stranger, then back at her. "They might, but we're ready this time." The man in the suit backed away slowly, muttering something into his phone before disappearing down the dirt road. I stood there for a moment, feeling the wind shift. It wasn't over. Karen might be in custody, but the HOA wasn't done cleaning up her mess. They'd try to bury it, twist it, make me look like the problem. I'd seen that trick before. Powerful people blaming the ones who refused to bow. By afternoon, a letter arrived. No name, no return address, just a single line stamped on HOA letterhead: "Cease interference or face legal action." I almost laughed. Legal action after what they did? I grabbed my camera again and recorded the letter. The property, and my voice steady as I said, "Let's see who ends up in court." That night, I sent everything, every photo, recording, document, to a local journalist I trusted, a guy who'd once exposed a corrupt zoning board. His reply came fast: "This is huge. You sure you want to go public?" I typed back one word: "Absolutely." 2 days later, the story hit every major local outlet. Fraud ring caught seizing veterans' land. My phone blew up. Neighbors, county officials, even strangers thanking me for standing up. But the spotlight came with shadows. Someone slashed my tires that night. My daughter's bike was thrown into the ditch. Fear tried to creep in, but I didn't let it. I'd fought in worse places than this. I fixed the tire myself at dawn, the air cold and sharp, the sound of metal tools steadying me. "You picked the wrong person to push," I muttered under my breath. Karen's face flashed in my mind. Smug, sure, invincible. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost, because the next part wasn't about fighting back. It was about finishing this once and for all. The next morning, I got a call from the deputy who had sided with me. "We've traced the threats. It's connected to Karen's associates. They're trying to intimidate you before the case even goes to court." My jaw tightened. Good, let them try. I've got everything documented. Every move they make, every attempt to scare me. It's all evidence. By midday, a convoy of HOA trucks appeared at the entrance to my street. Not construction this time, just a show of force. Their leader stepped out, scanning the property like a predator. I didn't flinch. Instead, I raised my camera, walking toward them. "Planning another stunt?" I asked, calm but cold. The woman from the suit, Karen's second in command, stepped forward. "You don't understand. We have influence. You'll regret this," I smiled, slow and deliberate. "Regret? You're about to regret underestimating one man protecting his land and his family." That's when I noticed it. A small device hidden near the driveway, blinking red. Someone was recording me. I picked it up, examined it, and laughed. "Clever," I muttered, "but predictable. You leave traces and I find them." Suddenly, from behind the convoy, the deputy appeared again, this time with a team. "Stand down," he barked. "This ends now, legally." The HOA people froze. Cameras, phones, and hidden devices everywhere. They were exposed. I held my daughter close, her eyes wide but trusting. The balance had shifted. Karen's shadow might still linger, but the real fight had begun, and this time I was fully prepared to end it.